you know what that music say?
Yes, sir, Amos. That music say good health to all from Rexall, the stores with the orange and blue sign.
Yes, 10,000 independent Rexall druggists at the stores with the orange and blue sign bring you transcribed The Amos and Andy Show, written by Joe Connolly and Bob Mosier, featuring Ernestine Wade, Johnny Lee, Amanda Randolph, Roy Glenn, Vince Townsend, Will Wright, Jeff Alexander's music, yours truly, Harlow Wilcox, and starring radio's all-time favorites, Freeman Gosden and Charles Correll. Amos and Andy!
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Charles Correll. Today, I have the wonderful news you always like to hear, the Rexall 1-cent sale. The sale that gives you twice as much for only a penny more. Begins April 7th, a week from Wednesday. And this coming week, you'll find a 4-page Rexall magazine ad that lists every item selling at 2 for the price of 1, plus a penny. The ad is in Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman, the issues that appear this week. Now, be sure to check that big 4-page ad so you won't miss a single saving in the Rexall 1-cent sale, April 7th through 10th.
Well, Sapphire has left the Kingfish in the past, but this time it looks as though she really means it. There was no violent quarrel, no outburst from Mama, no threats, no arguments. It was just that when the Kingfish got home from a lodge meeting at 11 o'clock last night, Sapphire and her mother were gone without a trace. Right now, the Kingfish and his friend Andy are discussing the situation.
You mean to say that when you got home that Sapphire and her mama was gone, Kingfish?
Yes, Andy, it was quite a shock. It was just like in the poem. They'd unfolded their tents and stole away like 2 big, fat, ugly Arabs.
Yeah, well, tell me this. Didn't you expectorate what they was up to?
No, Andy, all I know is they're gone, and gone without a trace.
Say, Kingfish, you sound like you really misses them two.
Well, Andy, it's the stillness that gets me.
Yeah, don't you?
Yeah, I miss the old familiar sounds.
No.
The sound of Mama when she used to push back her transformation and scratch a ball pit with that old oyster fork. And Sapphire listening to the radio in the evening, clicking her up a plate in time with Xavier Cugat. Yeah. And since the pivot tooth loosened up on her, she done developed a pretty nasty rumble beat, you know.
Yeah. Between the two of them, you must have had a pretty obnoxious obligata around there.
Yeah, it was a pretty picayune pizzicata going on there.
Well, I guess all in all, you has had a pretty hard life with Sapphire. But I'll tell you one thing, yours was the greatest courtship I done ever heard of.
Yes, Andy, we started out 3 different times to get married before we really got nuptialated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and something went wrong every time, you know it.
Yeah, I'll never forget the first time. I was your best man, and it looked like nothing could go wrong.
Oh, yeah, I can see it now just as plain, Andy.
Yeah, you and Sapphire was right up to the altar, and the preacher was saying to you...
You, Sapphire Smith, take this man to be your lawful wedded husband, to love, honor, and cherish till death do you part.
I do.
And do you, George Stevens, take this woman to be your lawful wedded wife, to love, honor, and cherish till death do you part.
I do.
You could say it louder.
Well, I said it loud enough.
You did not, and this is my wedding, and I ain't gonna have nobody mess it up.
Well, now listen, this is my wedding, too, and I'm gonna say I do the way I want to say I do.
You'll say it the way I tell you to say it.
Now, wait a minute, Cher. I ain't gonna have you telling me...
Please. If the bride and groom will please stop fighting, I'd like to join them in holy wedlock.
Well, he started.
I did not.
If you contradict me, I'll hit you with this bouquet.
Look out.
If you think I'm gonna stand for all this, you're crazy.
Well, Andy, I got out of the hospital 2 weeks later. And then we tried it again that spring. The state fair offered a prize of $1,000 to any couple that would be married in a balloon.
Yeah, I remember that. You and Sapphire and the preacher was in the basket ready to tie the knot, and off you went.
Yeah, the ceremony was going fine till right over the agricultural exhibit, the ropes broke. Next thing I knowed, I was saying I do to a prize-winning sow.
Yeah, well, when you finally got married, though, you done eloped. Why did you want to elope for?
Well, Andy, we figured that was the best way, 'cause, well, I didn't figure Sapphire's mama had no use for me. I went calling one night, and when she opened the door, she insulted me. She said, "Oh, it's you, you no good out of work bum."
Yeah, but what'd she say that insulted you?
Listen, Andy, that woman really didn't want me to marry her daughter. Yeah, during the First World War, that old walrus tried to get me drafted into the Army.
Well, that was only being patriotic, trying to get you in the Army.
The German Army?
Oh. Yeah. Well, I'll say one thing. When you finally got around to it, you and Sapphire had a pretty romantic elopement.
Oh, I'll say, Andy, that was some elopement. I remember that night back in Marietta, Georgia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted everything to be as romantic as possible. I had the train reservations to Niagara Falls. And remember, you helped me carry the ladder over to Sapphire's house.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. It sure was a dark night. I remember we was going to set up the ladder in the bushes under Sapphire's window.
Easy, Andy, easy. Easy with the ladder there, boy. I don't want to wake up Mama. Now, you know, that old gal, her mama really hates me.
Yeah, she don't like you, huh?
Yeah, she gonna hate me worse when she finds out I done charged the tickets on the Honeymoon Express to her.
Yeah, well, we better be careful. Now, come on, let's ease the ladder up there.
Yeah, let me get a hold of it, Chuck.
Yeah, me too.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. Kingfish, you think this ladder is long enough to reach that second-story window?
It's long enough. That's all right. It's Sapphire's window.
Yeah, well, Kingfish, as far as the elopement goes, I think this is where I gets off. Free as a crowd. Special on a honeymoon.
Yeah, well, so long. I'll see you when I get back, Andy. Thank you. Well, I better let Sapphire know I is here. I am calling you.
And I answered you.
Oh, Sapphire, my darling, I is here.
Come on up, George, and help me with my suitcase.
Coming right up, my honey dear.
Oh, be careful, my sweetheart.
Yeah, the ladder is really shaky, darling. Open the window higher so I can get you out, my love.
Oh, my darling, kiss me.
All right, dear. Mm.
Oh, George, will you promise me you always kiss me just the same way?
Well, I don't know if I'll always have a ladder with me.
Oh, George, just think. Here we are, ready to go on a life of romance.
Yeah, that's it. Well, let me take you in my arms, my lover. Easy, easy. Here we go, down the ladder. The ladder is a little steadier now. I guess our double weight do that to it.
Well, now be careful, Georgie.
Yeah, here we is. Just one more step. Here we is, my love. Away from that mother of yours. We done really outsmarted her.
Oh, George, I'm the happiest woman in the whole world.
Yes, Andy, that's the way it was. Sure was a romantic elopement, boy.
Yeah, well, if everything was that romantic, what happened? Somewhere along the broad highway of happiness, you must have hit a chuck hole.
Yeah, Andy, we did. Our honeymoon, that's what started it off on the wrong foot.
Yeah, but I thought you had reservations for a compartment on the train to Niagara Falls and everything.
Well, I did, Andy. Something happened on that train to spoil everything.
Yeah, now, what was it, Kingfish?
Well, Andy, suppose we get some breakfast and I'll tell you.
Okay. Was it really bad, Kingfish?
Yes, Andy, I ain't never told nobody this before, but on our honeymoon, Sapphire went to Niagara Falls, but as far north as I ever got was Poughkeepsie. I ain't...
Good evening. This is your Rexall family druggist with more news about the greatest money-saving advertisement in Rexall history. Our ad for the 1 cent sale, April 7th through 10th, is 4 full pages, appearing this week in 5 national magazines: Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman. This extraordinary advertisement describes more than 200 items at 2 for the price of 1 plus a penny. Alongside each item, you'll find a small square in which you may mark every saving you want to make in our big 4-day Rexall 1 cent sale. Be sure to look for this gigantic advertisement this week in Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman.
Want another cup of coffee, Andy?
No. I want to hear what happened on your honeymoon that kept you from getting any further than Poughkeepsie.
Well, Andy, it was one of them things. We got to New York that afternoon, and I had to change trains.
Yeah.
I think it was one of them big depots there, the Grand Central, the Pennsylvania or something. Anyway, I checked the ladder in the baggage room, and we was waiting around the station. We was waiting for the Honeymoon Express. You see?
Oh, George, ain't this wonderful? You and me in New York waiting to board the Honeymoon Express for Niagara Falls.
Yeah, kitchy coo, my flapper wappy.
Kitchy coo, my shinky winky.
Train now, Poughkeepsie, Albany, Buffalo, Niagara Falls. Station level 1, track 2. Level 1, track 2. Boarding now.
George, that's our train, the Honeymoon Express.
Yeah, now listen, honey. Here's my wallet. Now, the tickets is in the wallet there, and the car number is 7, and the compartment is D. Now, you have the porter take our bags, and I'll meet you on the train.
Well, George, where you going?
Well, I'm going to buy a couple of magazines and a box of saltwater taffy. It's a long trip to Niagara Falls, you know.
Well, all right, George. I'll see you on the train. It's level 1, track 2.
Well, I got the magazines and the candy. Now I'll get on the train. Oh, boy, is I excited. I got a whole pound of taffy for 39 cents. Let's see. The man said the train was on level 2, track 1. Or was it level 1, track 2? No, I must have it right. Level 2, track 1. Yeah, I see a gate over there. Well, anyway, Niagara Falls, here I come. Oh.
But, conductor, he must be on the train someplace.
I'm sorry, miss, but I've been through every car, and he's not on board.
Oh, dear. What could have happened to him? He said he'd meet me on the train. We're on our honeymoon.
Oh, I'm awfully sorry. The only thing I can figure out is he must have gotten on the wrong train back at the railroad station.
Oh, me. I just got on this train here before it left. I had to walk through 4 cars. Here we is. The next one is car 7. Yeah, now to find compartment D. Well, here's B, C, R. Here we is, compartment D. At last, we'll be alone together. I'll knock on the door. Open up, honey lamb. It's your sheeky-weeky. Open up, my flapper-wappy.
What do you want, Buster?
Well, what do I want? This is compartment D, ain't it?
Yeah?
Well, what is you doing in there with my wife?
Your wife? There's nobody in here but my partner.
Well, what has you done with my flapper-wappy?
What are you talking
Now,
about?
listen, mister, you was in my compartment. I got my reservations, compartment D on the Honeymoon Express.
Well, good for you. This happens to be the Seaboard Flyer heading for Georgia. Now, 23 skidoo, sheeky-weeky.
Oh, There must be some way out of this.
Holy mackerel, Kingfish, that was a mess. You and Sapphire on two different trains.
Yes, and I didn't have no ticket and no money, and they put me off the train in Washington. I was desperate, Andy, so I started to hitchhike in the general direction of Niagara Falls.
Holy smoke, Kingfish, that was a terrible mess.
Yes, Andy, and if it hadn't been for that box of saltwater taffy, my honeymoon would have been a total loss.
Well, how did you ever get the thing straightened out?
Well, it was a mess, all right. Sapphire and me both tried to backtrack. She got off the train in Buffalo and took the next one to Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
And I got to New York, and I started for Poughkeepsie.
Yeah.
And by the time I got there, Sapphire was back in New York.
Well, did you ever get together?
But no, Andy, the closest we come to getting together was when I picked up a postcard from her at General Delivery. It was mailed from Marietta, Georgia, and say, having a fine honeymoon, wish you was here.
That is a shame, because your elopement sure got off to a romantic start.
Oh, yeah, Andy, but it looked like she has done walked out on me for good, Andy. Oh, I tell you, Andy, I just feel so... Wait a minute, I'll get it. Hello? George Kingfish Stevens speaking.
I knew I'd find you home, you no-good loafing bum.
Oh, Mama dear, nice to hear from you, yeah.
Listen, I just called you up to tell you the express company is coming up for me and Sapphire's trunks.
Your trunks?
Yeah. We're over here at my house in Brooklyn, and we is staying here.
Now, wait a minute, Mama. You mean to say that Sapphire done left me for good?
That's right. She ain't never coming back to you.
But, Mama, she can't do this. I loves her and I misses her. I was all choked up inside. I got a tight feeling around my heart and the emptiness in the pit of my stomach. I needs my wife back.
You don't need no white baldy. You needs bicarbonate of soda.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, me. Andy, that was her mama. And she and Sapphire is over in Brooklyn, and they're sending for the trunks.
Yeah, well, from the sound of that, it looked like the old lady really talked Sapphire into leaving you for good.
Now, listen, Andy, thinking it over, this whole thing has been my fault, you know it?
Well...
No wonder we've been fighting all our life. I never give her no honeymoon, and she never had no real happy married life. I got to find some way to get Sapphire back. I think I'll go over and talk to my lawyer, Algonquin J. Calhoun.
Well, it looks like Sapphire's mama is the one that's putting her up to this. Why don't you go over and reason with the old gal?
Reason with Sapphire's mama? That's as ridiculous as Senator McCarthy singing, I'm just wild about Harry. Oh.
This is your Rexall family druggist again. Here is how a typical customer plans her savings in advance for the Rexall 1-cent sale, April 7th through 10th.
Well, first I read that wonderful Rexall ad. It's 4 full pages in 5 magazines. This week's Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman.
The advertisement describes more than 200 items, selling at 2 for the price of 1, plus a penny.
And I put a check mark in the little square beside each item that I want. Then my Rexall druggist reserves those items for me to pick up any time during the 1-cent sale, April 7th through 10th.
So, friends, be sure to get this big 4-page Rexall advertisement. It comes out this week in Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman.
Yeah, Calhoun, that's the whole thing. The Kingfish here wants to get his wife back.
You don't mean to tell me.
Yeah, that's right, Calhoun. I'm broken-hearted. My little lovebird has flew the coop. My sweet turtle dove done spread her wings and flew. I come to you to find a way to lure my little pigeon back to the roost.
Man, you don't need a lawyer. You need cracker crumbs.
Now, Calhoun, I are serious. I want to get my wife back and start all over again.
Now, wait a minute, Chad. Don't you know when you're well off? When you get her back, you'll only go back to fighting again.
Well, now, wait a minute, here. Wait a minute. The Kingfish and Sapphire had a happy elopement. Now, he's looking for some way to recapture that old romantic spirit.
Yeah, well, Kingfish, if that's what you're after, the thing to do is like the police does.
What's that?
Go back to the scene and reconstruct the crime.
Yeah, I get what you mean there. Yeah, maybe I could call up Sapphire over to Mama's and talk her into starting all over again, making a fresh start right from the beginning.
Yeah. Now, there's something. That's the thing, Kingfish. Get a ladder and go through the elopement just like you done when you was young.
Yeah, that's just what I'll do. Oh, that's great. And Andy, you can come along and help me just like you did years ago.
That's right.
You know, boy, this reminds me of my mama and papa when they was young. Yeah, Papa has often told me how on one dark night he got a ladder and went over to where Mama was staying. He put the ladder up to her window, climbed up and called, "Darling, I is here." And then he took her in his arms, carried her down the ladder to his car, and they sped off into the night.
Yeah, Calhoun, that was a beautiful elopement.
Elopement nothing. He was springing Mama out of the woman's prison.
Well, Andy, here's Mama's house. Bring the ladder around the back here. Come on.
Yeah. You know, I can't get over how much this is like the old house back in Marietta, Georgia. The old lady's even got the bushes round back here, just like the old place.
Yeah, well, let's set the ladder up here now.
Okay. You say you done talked to Sapphire on the phone, huh?
Yes, Andy. She wasn't too happy about the second elopement, but she willing to give it a try.
Yeah.
I told her too, Andy. I say, Sapphire, darling, I got the tickets for the Honeymoon Express. Yeah, I guess when I told her that I had the tickets, that kind of broke her down a little.
Well, yeah. You say you got the tickets and everything.
Yeah.
Huh?
Oh, the train leaves at 9:15, and this time I ain't going back for no saltwater taffy neither. I can get on.
That's
Yeah, well, I's all set here now. I better let her know I's here. Yeah, I tell you what I'll do now. I'll give her the signal that we used on our first elopement.
Yeah?
The Indian love call.
Go ahead.
Listen. I am calling you. Now, she gonna answer me, Andy.
And I answer you.
Holy mackerel. The last time I heard the Indian make a noise like that was in a moving picture. He had an arrow sticking out of his gallbladder.
Listen, Brother Andy, I tell you what, so this will be nice and sweet. You get on out of here. You don't want to spoil the romance of the occasion, you see.
Yeah, well, okay, Kingfish. Good luck to you. I'll be seeing you later.
All right.
All right, George, you gonna spend the whole night down there? If you is coming up, get a move on.
Well, take it easy. Hold your horses, woman. I'm getting up there. Holy smokes, this ladder is more shaky than it was the first time. Ain't easy climbing up here. You think that 25 years ago I sprinted up without touching a rung.
Listen, George, if we're gonna elope, hurry it up. I'm gonna catch cold here with this open window.
Well, I come in. Keep your big fat mouth shut. Now, here we is. Now, come into my arms, my darling.
Well, pick me up.
Yeah, well, let me get a grip on you here.
What's the matter?
Well, can't you give a little bit? I can't get you over the sill, honey.
Some romantic elopement this is.
Well, now, look, honey, we got to get the spirit back. Now, put your arms around me here, honey.
Well, all right, George. How's that?
Yeah, well, that's better now. We should have an easy trip down. Our double weight will steady the ladder like it did years ago. Yeah, there we go. Holy mackerel. It ain't steady. It's really shaking.
George, look out! Oh, George, is you all right? I landed right on top of you.
I think I was all right.
Well, then get up. We don't want to miss the Honeymoon Express.
Oh, honey, I can't get up.
What's the the matter, George?
Well, we done recaptured the romantic spirit, but I done busted my collarbone. Oh! I want to thank you boys for bringing me the nice flowers over here.
Oh, yeah. Well, me and Amos is sorry about you breaking your collarbone, Kingfish.
Yeah, we sure is, Kingfish. It's a shame, and you're going to be laid up like this. I'm sorry about it.
Yeah.
Well, the doctor say I can get up in a day or so. I got to keep the cast on, though, for a few more weeks. It's too bad this had to happen just when you was trying to give Sapphire a romantic second honeymoon.
Yeah, it is. You say the ladder shook all over the place coming down, huh?
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess ain't none of us getting no younger. Kingfish must have lost his balance. Andy, I think we better leave the Kingfish alone. Sapphire say something about bringing the supper right in.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Well, we'll be seeing you around, Kingfish. So long.
Well, so long, boys. So long. Thank you. Well, let me get myself comfortable here around the neck. Hello, Sapphire and Mama.
We brought you supper in, George.
Oh, thank you, Sapphire, and thank you, Mama.
Huh? So wonder you didn't break my daughter's neck, you clumsy oaf.
Now, wait a minute, Mama. I was just trying to capture our old romance.
Huh? You ain't ever done nothing right in your life.
Never done nothing right.
No.
What is you talking about? On that first elopement, we really pulled the wool over your eyes. You didn't know what was going on. We really fooled you that time.
You ain't never fooled no one in your life.
George, remember the night we first eloped? You remember how much steadier the ladder was coming down than it was going up?
Yeah, I remember that very well.
Tell him, Mama.
George, 25 years ago, I was in the bushes steadying that ladder.
Oh, no!
This is Harlow Wilcox with more news about the greatest shopping list that ever made your money go almost twice as far. The Rexall 1-cent sale ad is a shopping list. 4 full pages with more than 200 items selling at 2 for the price of 1 plus a penny. If you need toiletries, turn to the column called Toiletry Tips or Shaving Aids or Hair Groom Buys. You'll find whole sections of remedies, medicine chest needs, buys for babies, dozens and dozens of drugstore needs for the whole family at 2 for the price of 1 plus a penny. Don't miss this marvelous shopping list. The Rexall 4-page ad in Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman. Check the ad this week and save in the 1-cent sale April 7th through 10th at Rexall drugstores everywhere.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am Freeman Gosden. National Boys Club Week begins tomorrow. One of the finest things you can do for your community is to support your local boys club in the constructive activities that combat delinquency by helping build useful citizens for tomorrow. Thank you and good night.
See you next Sunday.
Shop in advance for the 1-cent sale.
Check the Rexall 4-page ad in this week's Life, Look, Collier's, Saturday Evening Post, and Country Gentleman.
Use the ad as your shopping list and save in the 1-cent sale April 7th through 10th at Rexall drugstores everywhere.
Be sure to be with us at this same time next Sunday when your Rexall druggist will again present The Amos and Andy Show, transcribed and directed by Cliff Howell. Stay tuned for the Bing Crosby program, which follows immediately over most of these same stations.
This is the CBS Radio Network.